Fashion has long deserted the green and pretty Temple Garden, in which Shakespeare makes York and Lancaster to pluck the innocent white and red roses, which became the badges of their bloody wars. And the learned and pleasant writer of the Handbook of London tells us that the commonest and hardiest kind of rose has long ceased to put forth a bud in that smoky air. Not many of the present occupiers of the buildings round about the quarter know or care, very likely, whether or not roses grow there, or pass the old gate, except on their way to chambers. The attorney's clerks don't carry flowers in their bags, or posies under their arms as they run to the council's chambers. The few lawyers who take constitutional walks think very little about York and Lancaster, especially since the railroad business is over. Only antiquarians and literary amateurs care to look at the garden with much interest, and fancy good Sir Roger de Coverley and Mr. Spectator with his short face pacing up and down the road, or dear Oliver Goldsmith in the summer house, perhaps meditating about the next citizen of the world, or the new suit that Mr. Philby the tailor is fashioning for him, or the dunning letter that Mr. Newberry has sent. Treading heavily on the gravel, and rolling majestically along in a snuff-colored suit, and a wig that sadly wants the barber's powder and irons, one sees the great doctor step up to him, his Scotch lackey following at the lexicographer's heels, a little the worse for port wine that they had been taking at the Mitre. And Mr. Johnson asks Mr. Goldsmith to come home and take a dish of tea with Miss Williams. Kind faith of fancy. Sir Roger and Mr. Spectator are as real to us now as the two doctors and the boozy and faithful Scotchman. The poetical figures live in our memory just as much as the real personages, and as Mr. Arthur Pendennis was of a romantic and literary turn, by no means addicted to the legal pursuits common in the neighborhood of the place, we may presume that he was cherishing some such poetical reflections as these when, upon the evening after the events recorded in the last chapter, the young gentleman chose the Temple Gardens as a place for exercise and meditation.